I'm Cass.
And I am Lee. And that jingling you hear is my dog. If you can hear it.
She's very cute.
She's adorable.
She just shook the camera.
I mean, you've seen her, I think, once on camera,
Probably.
maybe. If you look through these videos, eventually you will see her. She knocks over our camera. Destruction is her name.
She did that with her tail, too.
Oh yeah, she's a pity. She's got one of those tails that just takes out everything. Though apparently she might be a little bit of pointer, we've concluded.
Really?
Yes. But she does point to a lot of things too, so that makes sense. I know that's not like the condition to be a pointer dog,
Right.
but...
My dogs are pointers. She's smiling. Okay, we should probably focus.
Yes, we should. As she knocks over my camera 50 more times.
It's fine.
As long as nothing dies.
Right. As long as it doesn't go over the edge.
I don't think it's tall enough for that to happen.
Probably not.
Yeah, because we're filming this on my porch, just so you guys have context for that. So, today we are going to talk about confidence, things that we have confidence in, and the lack of it.
Yes, and also growth of confidence.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Not a lot, but sometimes.
You know, so every now and then, like, I know at work I actually have a lot of confidence now. Like, whenever I'm at work, I feel like I'm magic, and that is happily due to my ADHD, because I can do things so fast and cool, and like, I like throwing up the coffee cups and catching them, and then putting them down the table, filling them up. It, like, makes me feel so, like, amazing.
Like, all fancy, like,
yeah.
oh, I can do this.
Or, like, when I'm doing fries, I go,
That's
and
funny.
it's like, just, I feel so elegant at work sometimes. I'm like, oh, amazing.
When I worked at McDonald's, I was very nervous the first, I think, week or so, and...
Mine was like a month. But it's because I knew Anne didn't like me. I was like...
Oh, yeah. But, like, I would mess up all of the time, and I had to, like, there was a learning curve, and eventually I got really good, so it's like, I got, like, a lot more confidence when I was able to do things right. More right, I guess, technically.
Roxanne, what are you doing? Okay, you weirdo. I love you.
She's, like, ignoring you now.
Yep.
How dare you.
Sorry. Continue. You were talking about working at McDonald's, how you gained confidence as you continued to get better. That was it?
I finished that
was
thought.
Okay.
Sorry.
That was, I didn't know if you did.
It was 3 years ago.
Yeah. So, that's one thing. And now I'll let you go first since you kind of...
Okay.
Since you're sitting in the first chair.
Okay. One of the big things that I have, like, had a lack of confidence in, and then I, like, gained confidence, was, like, clinicals, in the sense of, like, I'm in nursing school, and I took CNA classes when I was in high school, so I got my CNA. I don't have it anymore. But I,
Does it expire or something?
Yeah,
okay.
It expires.
That's what I was wondering. Cool.
And, so I had clinicals my junior year of high school, right? Just finished my junior year of college, so that's 4 years. In my junior year of high school, I did not talk to the nurses. It was very difficult for me to, like, approach the nurses and talk to them and be like, hey, like, I'm your student today, like, who do you want me to follow, kind of thing. It was very difficult for me to do that.
So, like me walking up to any authority figure. Cool.
Yeah. And there was this one time I had this one nurse who was like, oh, just go make beds. And I didn't have the confidence to tell her, like, no, I'm supposed to follow you and observe you, you know, kind of thing. And I didn't know, like, what exactly she wanted me to do. She wanted me to make occupied beds or unoccupied beds, because all the empty rooms already had beds. I just didn't know what she wanted. And I ended up crying in the middle of the hallway because I was just so overwhelmed. And, it's funny because now, I can talk to the nurses, for one. I can be like, hey, like, we're your students today, like, this is 4 years later, obviously, and 4 years of clinicals. I can be like, hey, like, we're your students, like, who do you want us to follow, and stuff like that. I can walk around, like, the units with a little bit more confidence. Obviously, I'm still very, like, just kind of like, ugh. But, like, it's easier to talk to patients, too. It's a lot easier to talk to patients, which is nice, because they look at you, even though you're younger than them, as authority, which is kind of interesting.
That is interesting, because usually when you're younger, people are like, you don't know anything.
I think it's probably the uniform, though, because a lot of the people, a lot of the places we've had clinicals have the same color scrubs we do.
Oh,
so
they're like, okay, you're full-fledged, I guess, so I guess you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, and I pretend I know what I'm talking about, unless, like, I need to be like, hey, like, I need to go get my nurse for this, but I have started 3 IVs, so that's something.
I feel like that is also very impressive. Don't ask me why I think that's impressive. I just feel like it is.
It's, when you're first well, anything with needles and, like, pricking a patient is very nerve-wracking for...
I think anyone, because there's multiple reasons why I think I would be nervous sticking a needle in someone. I'm nervous enough just to apply my sister's epinephrine for if she ever goes into, like, phylactic shock.
Have you had to do that?
No! But there's one day I almost did.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, she got stung by a bee, and she's allergic to bees. And we were at a food stand, and Carrie's like, okay, Lulu, if I go into anaphylactic shock, do you remember what to do? I'm like, yeah, I do! She's like, okay, I'm gonna drive, so I'm like, you sure you don't want me to drive? And she's like, nah, we'll be good. And I'm like...
She doesn't have a driver's license either.
I don't, but I do have that thing where it's like, if there's an adult in the car and she's an adult, so...
Oh, you have your... Oh, I didn't know you had your permit.
Yeah, I finally got that, so I'm practicing!
Good job!
I'm finally getting over that.
Maybe
somewhat.
That's something you should talk about, because that's a confidence thing.
That is a confidence thing. So I have no confidence in driving whatsoever for multiple reasons. One, the fact being that I've been in like 2 car crashes, and like I've almost crashed the car while practicing quite a few times as well, which does not help with the fear.
Oh, one time I crashed the car with her in it.
Yes.
And then she wore a scarf around her neck for like 6 months or something like that. Every time I saw a scarf, I was like, oh no. I'm thinking about it. I hurt my friend.
Yeah,
I felt very guilty.
Because I got some whiplash from being in the car.
Oh, I thought I said that. Sorry.
No, you didn't. You didn't say that, because I got some whiplash from being in the car, and I wore a scarf around my neck because the heat helped keep the muscles, like, loose.
Yeah.
So, and I made the mistake of accidentally telling her this, because she's like, why are you pursuing? I'm like, oh, because, you know, my neck hurts, and if I put the scarf on, it doesn't hurt. And she's like... And I was like, oh no, I wasn't supposed to tell her that because I knew she'd feel guilty.
I still feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
How long has that been? That was the day before...
I remember it was our senior year.
It was my 18th birthday, right?
Yeah, and I think it was also kind of before prom. My prom was very fun for me because I had also sprained my ankle and gotten whiplash. And I think there was one other thing I had done wrong, probably to my wrist, because that's just who I am. Oh yeah, and the broken pinky toe, that also happened that year. So I just had the trifecta of injuries, so I was just like sitting at the table, my boyfriend came with me and he's like, I'm not into dancing. I'm like, cool, we're probably not going to be dancing anyway.
Because I have a sprained ankle.
And he's like, we just sat there and played cards the whole night. Prom night, yay, memorable. Blackjack.
It was blackjack?
It was blackjack. We played blackjack all night. We were really into blackjack senior year for some reason.
Okay.
And then Cassidy came by and like hanged with me for a bit when she took a break from dancing. And they all came and got me when we did the photo booths.
I really don't remember prom.
That's fair enough. Okay, I think you were dancing most of the night, so I don't really know what you're doing because you were away from me.
Yeah. I was dancing with like Gabby and stuff, and I remember at one point, her boyfriend came back, and so I was, like, holding her like this because I was, like, stressed, and she just pulls me against her and hikes her leg onto my hip, looks at her boyfriend and goes, "You jealous?" He goes, "Yes, absolutely."
That's such a Gabby thing to do. I love that.
It is.
Yeah. But what is it? So it's safe to say I have an anxiety of cars because I also really suck turning into places or changing lanes. I've almost hit cars at least 5 times. So that definitely did not help while I was practicing. Then to get in a car crash later on just kind of reinforced this fear that already was kind of there.
Yeah.
Which is why I kind of didn't want to talk about this with Cassidy sitting next to me.
Oh.
Because I'm afraid of making you feel guilty.
Sorry.
You don't have to apologize for it.
I'm sorry.
We have such an interesting relationship, folks.
It's fine. It's fine.
So, what is it? I kind of could get behind the car like that, but I definitely had that death grip White Knuckles thing where it's just like,
No, I had that for, I think, 2 years of my driving, because my dad would be like, drive with one hand. I'd be like, no, because I didn't, like, have enough control over the wheel, it felt like. But, like, I feel like the more you drive, the more confidence you get.
That's definitely a thing for sure. So I have been getting a bit better. I remember when I first started driving again, it was actually just in the subdivision, and you're only allowed to go 25 miles per hour, and I was going like 5 miles per hour because going any faster just freaked me out.
Yeah.
Like really bad. And it's like, finally I was able to go up to 25, I'm like, okay. And every time I turned, like the scenery's getting closer, and my mind was just going, ah! And I was like, it's okay, we're not hitting anything. And so I've slowly gotten better, so I'm at least better with my speed. I'm a bit more confident about my speed now, but when it comes to taking my turns, I'm still a bit scared because in my family we also have a habit of like hitting the gas when we turn. I do it because I believe for sharp turns, I feel like it makes you turn quicker if I step on the gas, which is true, but also not what you're supposed to do.
I think you need to practice hitting your brakes
when
you turn.
I gotta practice hitting the brakes before I turn is what you're supposed to, otherwise you mess up the brake pads. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
What if
I know she does that though. I know you do.
What do I do?
You hit the brake as you turn.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, I know. I know things.
I feel like you're judging my driving.
Nah, not really. But I know you're not supposed to, just to warn you, it does, like, affect the brake pads. Like, it wears them quicker.
Yeah, because I definitely, like, I'll, like, hit the brake as, like, I'm turning, and then I'll just, like, coast through the turn, and that'll speed up.
Yeah. Because you're supposed to slow down before the turn and then just coast.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm glad that I've been told that, but I definitely need more forewarning, because if people don't give me enough forewarning about where we're turning in, I panic, and that's when I floor the gas. I'm not sure it's because I'm anxious or not, but that's definitely when I go, ah! and then there's the other car next to me going, and I'm just like, I am so sorry!
When I turn, like, someplace that, like, if I use my maps a lot, because that helps me kind of gauge, like, okay, I need to turn, like, oh, it's coming up, stuff like that. That helps with my confidence with driving, even now. But I will literally go down to 10 miles an hour, like, just looking for the turn so I don't miss it, because it stresses me out so much to miss a turn.
Yeah, so I guess you and me both understand that anxiety well.
Yeah.
And I guess there's another thing that's actually, I guess, intriguing about me, if you want to say. I'm not sure it's exactly intriguing.
I don't know where she's going with this.
No, you don't. You'll probably know once I start.
Okay.
I don't know if actually I've talked about this a lot with you or not. I feel like I've had this conversation a lot, but it might have been with my family.
I'm her family.
You are my family.
Technically, I guess.
But it's like I don't remember which family I talked most with. I probably mentioned it once to you. I'm not sure if you remember.
Okay, continue. I'm curious now.
Okay, so when I was younger, I actually really sucked at writing, and I really sucked at reading. They were one of my weakest points in school, but I never hated reading. I hated spelling, though. I hated spelling, like really bad.
I don't remember her telling me this.
So, because, like, I couldn't write, I couldn't really spell. Even though I kind of always enjoyed writing, I was never exactly good at it, and I kind of knew I wasn't good at it, but somewhere along the way, I started to gain a lot of confidence in my writing. It's the one thing I'm actually really confident in now compared to anything else in my life, is because I'm confident I'm a creative person and that what I have to tell is interesting.
Yeah. And that's funny, because when I was, like, in elementary school and middle school, I sucked at spelling. Like, my grades in middle school, like, weren't, like, all A's because of the spelling test that we had. Because I just couldn't spell. And then, like, once we got to high school, because I read so much, my spelling got a lot faster. And I think, yeah. And so, but it's funny, because this one time in, like, it wasn't until middle school I really started liking writing, because I hated writing before that. I remember this one time.
I didn't know that.
I don't really talk about it. I haven't thought about it. But there was this one time in 2nd grade, I had this teacher who would make fun of me all of the time. She would just be like, she was just really, really mean. If you're a teacher and you're gonna be mean to kids, don't be a teacher. Just don't. Like, she honestly,
it doesn't also make enough for you to not be there and not love the kid and the job you're doing.
Right. Right. Like, if you're gonna be a teacher, like, you need to like kids. And I think
or at least be understanding of childlike behavior.
Yeah. Oh, that's another story I have after this one. But I remember I was sitting at my desk, and she was like, okay, it's writing time, you have to write, or whatever. And I just couldn't think of anything to write. Like, I did not know what to write. So I put my name at the top of the paper, and at the end of it, I didn't have anything written, so I just turned it in. And she was going through the papers, and she pulled mine, and she goes, oh, this one's empty. I wonder whose this is. Oh, it's Cassidy's. Kind of, yeah. So that was fun. And then another time, same teacher, I had really bad separation anxiety as a kid. I was diagnosed with, like, generalized anxiety disorder in 2nd grade, something around there. And, so I remember one time I was just crying because my mom left me. And I was just so upset about it. And this was also the 1st grade that I didn't have the same class as my sister.
Oh.
So that made it worse. And my sister hated me at this point. Once we started school, she started hating me. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, it's like the kind of like, oh, like we love each other but we don't like each other kind of hate. Like she just didn't want anything to do with me. I annoyed her, like, kind of thing. And so I broke down crying in the middle of class, and my teacher goes, why are you crying? And I go, I miss my mom. And she goes, well, these kids miss their moms and they're not crying. So, yeah, that was fun.
Yes, that's not good. Definitely not the way to handle that situation. I definitely feel like some teachers aren't given the tools to deal with those sort of situations either sometimes.
Yeah, probably not.
Especially those with mental health, technic difficulties.
Me.
Yeah, and there's also like autistic kids or even kids who are just prone to acting out in general, and they don't know how to help calm them down. It's like, that's something they should be taught, just because it's useful.
Yeah. I don't think I ever, like, acted out. Like,
I never did anything too bad at school. If anything, it was more like I ignored the teachers.
Yeah.
I did get in a few fights here and there, but nothing as to where I got sent home or anything.
I never got into fights, but I was very stubborn. Like, I did not want to do what the teachers wanted me to do.
I was a hot-headed child, so bad.
I remember one time in high school, no, middle school, no, 8th grade. It was 8th grade, so it was middle school. And I hated this math class, so I read underneath my desk, and I sat next to Bree. Oh no, this was 6th grade, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah. Or I don't know. It was middle school.
Somewhere in middle school in that age.
Like
line.
when I first met Bree, and I think it was before
she had introduced.
Yes. So that would have been 6th grade.
Yeah.
And so I was reading underneath my desk, and after class, I turned to Bree and I go, what were we learning? And she goes, well, if you weren't reading, you would know. And I go, okay, well, I just won't know then. I hated that class so much.
Fair enough, no one really likes math.
I was a really bad kid, I think.
I don't think you were too bad. I mean, but then again, no, I don't remember you being too bad. But then again, I have very low standards.
Yeah. I have very high standards, so.
Yeah, my bar for anyone is generally pretty low. It's like, as long as you're nice to me, I actually generally like you.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're mean to my friends, it's like, you're like, I'll still hang with you, but I don't 100% approve of you.
Megan.
Yeah, it's like, I still love Megan. It's just like, I wish I could hang out with her with my other friends, but I can't because they all hate each other. It's like, as long as I'm alone with you, it's fine.
Okay, she hates me. That's why I dislike her.
I mean, again, I only think that's fair sometimes, but hate just breeds more hate. What can I say?
Right. So don't hate people.
Exactly. You can dislike people, just don't hate. I'm trying to think if there's another confidence thing. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm definitely not confident in my smarts. The only thing that validates me is my grades. I guess that's all I really have to say.
I feel that, though. Because I have a lot of friends who will look at me and they'll be like, you're one of the smartest people I know. I'll be like, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm very, very dumb.
Like, I feel the same way. Like, people will tell me, they're like, you're really smart.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
She is very smart. She is smart.
And I'm like,
Don't-
I don't say I'm dumb, but I go, I'm average. And they go, no, you're smart. I go, I'm average. And they're like, you're smart. And I'm like, okay.
I tend to say like, oh, I'm dumb, but like I mean average.
Yeah,
you know.
like I'm like of average intelligence. They're like, no, you're not average intelligence. I'm like, no, I am. And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay.
That's kind of how I am, because I don't have a lot of confidence in myself to begin with, and when people like give me any sort of compliment, I'll be like, no, I don't believe you. You are lying to me.
It's like, it's also weird because it's like, I don't care about who I look like to strangers, but I care who I look back to my friends. And honestly, like, I don't care if around my friends if I'm having mismatching clothes, but I also don't care if strangers see me with mismatching clothes. So it's like, it's weird how the confidence fits in there sometimes as to how we even see ourselves, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm not confident enough to go outside without shaving my legs, but I'm confident enough to wear the most bizarre clothes you've ever seen.
I will like feel bad if my legs aren't shaved, which they're not really. I usually I have stubble before I shave again, but it's like in my head I'm like, no one's going to be peering at my legs and being like, your leg hair is a half an inch long. How dare you? Kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've convinced myself, like, if they don't say anything to my face, then I don't care, you know?
Which is a good place to be at.
Yeah, because it's like, when I was little, I used to want to be able to read people's minds, to know what they were thinking about me so I could fix it. But that's...
Yeah, I get that. But that also reminds me, sometimes I remember when I was younger, I always was like, if someone could read my mind right now, they wouldn't know what's happening, because I'd be writing a story in my head, and it would either be, like, really gruesome, or just, like, in the middle of, like, this intense plot line or something like that. I was like, if someone read my mind right now, they'd be like, what the?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to have these things where it's like, if someone could read my mind, and then I would, like, go through this little sequence of, like, these, they were always little gnomes. I don't know why, but they were little gnomes who would be, like, outside the window, like, peering at me through binoculars, who could read my mind, and they'd be like, oh, she's on to us! Oh, no!
I love that!
I've had so many of those daydreams.
She broke me!
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, okay. I also did want to read a minds or words, but just because I was curious what other people were thinking. It wasn't an anxiety thing.
Yeah, mine was definitely like an anxiety thing. So
most of mine was like, was it that thing where you like you sign into your phone and you say the password code is like, if someone could read my mind right now, they'd have all my codes to everything.
Ooh, you could rob a bank.
You could. You really could.
But I remember I would always get like, when I was little, I would get secondhand embarrassment from a lot of my friends. Have I talked to you about that before?
I don't think so.
Like how you bounce.
Oh, yes.
You're in public.
Yes, you've told me
like,
that. Yes.
Yeah. That's something that I think I've done a little bit better with.
Yes.
I think I have less secondhand embarrassment with my friends specifically.
I mean, I've noticed when I'm off my medicine and we're in public, yes.
Yeah.
Because it used to be when I was off my medicine, I would get extremely grandiose and hyperactive off my medicine. Like, I'll get all these wide gestures and just, weird things, and I'll, like, hop up and down if I'm standing
I'd be like,
still.
We are in public,
And
stop!
And I'm like, I don't care, I'm off my medicine! Because when I'm off my medicine, I really do not give opinions about anything. Like, people could hear me sing and I wouldn't care. On my medicine, I'm like, please, no one hear me sing. No one. That's one thing I don't have confidence in. I can act on a stage, no problem. Confidence is there.
I cannot.
Singing, I cannot do in front of anyone at all. Like, my family, yes. Friends, maybe.
Where do I fall in there? Maybe?
Yeah, it's maybe.
Okay.
Like, if like, I wouldn't sing alone without music. Like, if we're in the car and the radio was on, I would sing. But if you just asked me to suddenly sing something, I'd be like,
I would never ask that of you, though.
If Brie asked, I might do it.
Brie!
I've known her longer, and she's heard me sing before.
I'm offended.
Well, she heard me sing once before, when we did that, like, fake band tryout thing. We were trying to throw a band together, and each of us had to sing to see who the singer would be.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Who ended up being the singer?
I think that it was between Ashton, me, and Bree, and everyone chose Bree. And I was like, I didn't think I was that bad.
You weren't.
I probably wasn't. They're like, oh no, you're not bad. I just think Bree's was better. It's like, you do know how that sounds, right?
That does not sound good.
Like, I know they didn't mean it to be insulting. We were like 8, but it was still like...
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Not jinx this time. Woo! See you next time.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.